All right, I'll do it. God damn.
You know what? I was thinking.
I don't know.
Well, no, I was thinking maybe we should, listen, enjoy the music.
It is kind of nice to hear the music every now and then.
I actually love it.
So this Jeff's looking great. You've been going to a dermatologist or something? Your skin's glowing.
Glowing? I'm hot. I'm kind of sweaty right now, I think is what it is.
Hot and sweaty, huh?
Yeah, I'm having a hot flash.
Temperature-wise, I read the thermostat walking in here was 70, but I do feel a little warm. I mean, it could have been...
Well, I turned the fan down.
70?
Well, 70.
That is insanely cold.
Oh, dude, I
for a thermostat setting.
Oh,
good Lord!
I have it go down to 70 on Tuesdays.
Oh.
Otherwise, no one's up here anymore, so I have it up at 75. The rest of the
nice.
time.
Well, nice planning. I like that. You're looking out for your fellow podcasters, sir.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's difficult what's difficult with these nests is that they should be reliable.
They get hacked by Chinese.
Mine is not reliable. I have 2 nests at my house, and both of them suck dick.
Didn't you just replace them?
I didn't replace them. There was a lot of drama to get them replaced. They're kind of like, well, just I'll tell you what, mail those to us, and then we'll send you some back. And I'm like, so this is Texas. What am I supposed to do in the interim while it's fucking 100 degrees outside?
Right.
Why don't you fucking mail me that? So anyways, I just said drop it. I just kept it on manual mode, and I don't care. I took it off Wi-Fi.
Didn't you say that, like, it would change without your permission? Like,
it did. It did.
Mine changes all the time.
Yeah, like the power company logs in and they raise it or something.
I don't know. There's no.
That was I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, there was a buzz saying that was true. I don't. It works the antithesis with what mine is because it's actually going lower. I mean, I set it to 72, and it drops down to 68.
See, what is that about?
Well, it's
that's crazy.
I don't know.
Mine's been stable. Mine's been stable for a while. I haven't had any issues with it.
Well,
recently.
It picks up trends. It follows. It's supposed to follow the weather outside and the humidity, and there's a logarithm.
Oh, there's artificial intelligence built in.
Yeah, there's stuff that goes on.
I didn't know that. If that's the case, of course, there's an algorithm that it's trying to.
But
it's trying to. Like,
in retrospect, I would rather just have a thermostat
analog
that does what I tell it to do.
Yeah, that's what I have.
I don't want you to anticipate what I want.
I've never changed mine. Mine's the original.
I enjoy going down. I enjoy being somewhere in the house, and I say, "Hey, Alexa, upstairs 72," and it's 72. And that was cool because it actually worked. It synced with the in-house home automation, and that was cool. And then all of a sudden, it just got disconnected, and now it doesn't work at all. I mean, it works. You have to go up there and manually do it. So I'm at a point right now. Whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Huh,
Those stupid.
I think the home automation. I don't know. I know you love it.
I do. I'm not happy with that aspect of it, and I'll change it. But right now, I'm just going to leave it alone.
What if it just starts, like you're having it do all this stuff, and then suddenly it just tells you no?
No, you're cool enough in here.
Yeah. What if it says, no. Oh yeah, turn on music in the family room?
How about
no?
How about this? Imagine if your Alexa, you said, "Hey Alexa, turn the thermostat down to 68. I want it extra cold in here," and your Alexa responds back and says, "We checked your bank account and you're running low, so we feel it's a good idea that you don't."
Yeah, that's not fiscally responsible.
Yeah,
Jeff.
You just need to
your ESG. What's it called? ESG code is the wrong. So we're going to turn your heat up.
Yeah.
Or you say, Alexa, play my favorite band, and it says you don't have enough social credits right now.
Yeah.
You haven't earned that privilege of playing your favorite music.
So it is August 30, and we've got a fantastic jam-packed show.
Yes.
I want to thank our producer for always being present and here at the show. And we got dudes like us. I'm Sean.
I'm Paul.
I'm Joe.
And we have a special guest.
And a special dudette.
Yeah, it's a dudette. I don't know if our microphone works yet or not, but it's Miss Julie.
Well, this was unplanned. You just kind of popped in.
Yeah, she probably had gas and wanted to crop dust.
Okay,
she did. She crop dusted.
She likes doing that.
What?
Yeah.
Good
Thank
Lord.
you, Paul.
Yeah, she goes to lunch and she's like, "I'll have the extra cabbage. The boys are having a podcast tonight."
Actually, I don't think they crop dust. Don't they just mist? It's kind of like they toot, right? They toot.
Right.
So
No, it's more like a.
they're like a mister. What is that? What are you hawking a loogie?
I thought it sounded like Jeff snoring.
They kind of like sound like Darth Vader.
Like a sleigh stack or something.
I am your
It did sound like a sleaze tag. Julia's joined in. She wanted to taste. She missed. She had what is it? Students' night or mother's
Meet the teacher.
Meet the teacher night.
And
How many parents did you meet?
Oh, that feels so much better.
Let me have a moment to count.
Not many, huh?
Oh, really?
3,
Oh, she's counting on one hand
4,
and her toes.
7.
9 parents and one former coworker.
Oh,
Oh.
coworker.
Well,
Nice.
how many students do you have?
and one additional former student.
And so that's
Very
like out of
nice.
50 kids?
No, I have about 120.
That's embarrassing.
And 9 parents showed up?
That's that. There's one of two things going on.
Okay, hold
Either
on.
you're a horrible teacher,
Or they trust her implicitly.
or the parents are suck.
Okay, hold
Yeah,
on.
leave it on the
I'm
parents.
going to pose this to you both because I know how often Jeff went to meet the teacher.
Okay, go.
As a high school student, did you go to any of your children's meet the teacher night
As a student, I didn't have any children.
when your kids were in school?
I went to
All right,
almost all of them.
Why don't you give us a minute? We'll talk about it. No, I didn't at all. Not once.
I had
Okay.
I
Yeah.
went to all of them. I was.
Okay.
I was.
In high school?
All right, the answer is no, we didn't.
I don't know. Actually,
In high school, I went to all of them in grade school, middle school, and I went to 2 in high school.
One for each child.
Right.
And I'm going
yeah.
to
You know what? I think you're right.
Sean.
I don't think I went to them in high school because I thought there's a certain point where
You
Come
kind
on,
of trust
you
your
stop caring.
kid.
sink or swim, bitch.
Right.
Well, I was just going to say I talked to your producer and he said, no, you never went to any
Yeah,
of his
but
high school ones.
He
well, he would be
constantly
the
lies.
authority on this. Yeah, he would be the authority.
No, he would not be the authority. I practically was at the school all the time with his band practice.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what I used to go through when I was. This was actually through not through high school, but through grade school and middle school. The parent teacher, I guess, it was a parent teacher conference, which we used to do through middle school, I think,
Correct.
where you would sit down and they'd pull out your progress report and some work, and they would talk about how you're performing in class. And I
Right.
always hated that because my penmanship sucks. It still does today. I print everything now. This is what they used to teach cursive.
Mhm.
They don't
Oh,
teach
this
cursive
was
anymore, do
when you were,
That's when I
child.
was in middle school.
Right.
not
Right.
when your children.
No,
Right.
They teach them how to
That's
print
where
X now.
you had chalk
Yeah.
and a little
And I
chalkboard.
On a
always
blackboard.
remembered, I always hated we
Or
called it
green
LA
board.
Language Arts.
What do they have now? Do they have
Whiteboards.
they don't have chalkboards anymore?
That's weak.
Is it bad for the environment?
Is it because they were dark colored and they went to the white?
And you put white on top.
Wow, that's racist. I never
Be-
thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Because
So are we putting
the
the white on the
Holy
black color?
shit.
because
So-
the whiteboard
Really?
erases better than a chalkboard does.
Yeah, well,
But it's
depending your
chemicals.
depending your marker too. Some of these alleged dry erase
Expe-
markers have some residual that stick around.
They do.
Yeah.
All red ones. It doesn't matter what brand. The red.
So, do you
hangs
have
out.
a concoction of solution that you put
I
on
do.
there?
I would still think if
It's
you
vodka.
I would still think if you're like in math and you're doing a big long
Why
she opens
would
up her pencil drill, pulls out a
Why
flask.
would I?
if you're doing a big long
I-
formula, I would think chalk would be the best with that because you could just keep going. And I don't know if it'd turn
Yeah,
out
especially
as
if you're
well.
left-handed. Boy, you'd be fucked.
Okay, hold on. I want to go back to the
what?
vodka. Why would I waste vodka on my board
Well, you lick the board. after
when
that.
it when it means I could have
do a shot then lick
consumed
it
it?
clean.
Yeah, you're taking you're alternating between sniffing the marker and drinking the board cleaner.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
if I were going to drink something and then lick something at school, I would
Alrighty
have the
then.
tequila
Yeah.
shot
think
Let's
this just
stop
jumped
right
the
there. You have
shark.
the
The tequila
right to
shot.
plead
Anyways,
the
your
fifth.
And the
your,
desktop.
your school night, Meet the Parents,
You have the right to
was
remain
a
silent.
No,
total
meet
failure.
the teacher.
Meet the teacher. They didn't show up.
I
And-
was pleased.
which is a trend.
Well,
that
but
I didn't
also-
know I followed.
This is not a main campus either.
I was going to say you're also you're part of a program where these are special electives.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I could see that.
I'm thrilled with my however
Special,
many
but
I
not
got.
as in retarded special. It's more like just
Wow.
electives.
These
God,
are
I
the
hate
kids want
that
to
word.
be there. The kids
Yeah.
want to be there.
I don't care.
Just telling you, I hate that word.
Kids want to be
Yeah.
there.
You know, a lot of people hate that word actually.
That's because,
It's a harsh word.
you know what?
It is a
I
harsh
don't care.
word.
It's not. It really. It's
I mean,
not.
it is a clinical diagnosis, but
There
it's
you
just it's a harsh word.
it's.
It is.
You know what? People got that way because they just got woke. And then it became accepted, and then people kind of like, you get trained not to use it. But in the reality, it's like calling someone a midget. Do they really get mad at being called a midget?
I don't know.
They
well,
do
it's,
not.
it's the
They don't give a fuck.
it's the white elites that get offended for everybody.
Yeah.
That's what it is. When-
I refuse to conform.
How many little people friends do you have that you've ever posed that question to?
I had one.
No, you did not.
I
That is
did too.
that's
Why
not
do you
true.
say that?
How, really?
I had one. I used to go to class every day. I'd say, hey, how you doing, Bobby? I'd tussle his hair, and then I'd be like, hey, I'll just walk on.
How you doing, you crazy little midget?
would you throw? Do you have throw? Would
That's
you
what
throw
you
them?
said to him?
Man, look, there are midgets all over the place. They're just as, they have the same brain
That's a
mentality as
game.
you do. It's
Midget tossing.
Who gives a shit? That was in the 80s
That
with
was
Mr.
dwarf,
T.
dwarf tossing, not midget
No,
tossing.
well, actually, it was midget tossing. It was
You have
was
dwarf
bar.
wrestling.
It was bar. It was God
Midget
bless it.
wrestling.
Midget wrestling.
midget wrestling.
No,
Mud,
but the
mud
midget
wrestling.
tossing was part of a bouncers competition. They would have spring break special shows, and one of them was a bouncers competition. And part of the bouncers competition was to see how far
They
you
could
could
throw a little
launch a midget. And
That's so wrong.
and that's what they call it, midget tossing. In fact, Mr. T won it.
I think that's true. That
Yeah.
does ring some bells in
Yeah.
the
You
You
cobwebs.
can't do that anymore. I don't think.
No, I don't
What do you
think so.
toss?
Just
Yourself?
Your meat.
humans that are really.
Well, what? It's a small person tossing.
Yeah, just like somebody
That
who's
sounds foul.
somebody who's
I know when I
short.
was in Mexico last year or 2 years ago, whenever the last time I went down, I
12.
went to the
12 years. 12 years.
the Libre wrestling. You know, the Mexican wrestling.
Nacho
with the,
Libre.
What's not called Nacho Libre, but yes, where they have the masks and everything.
Oh,
He did
God.
have some nachos while he was
That-
there.
that reminds me of
No,
Jack
they
Black.
don't have nachos down there. It's not a Mexican food.
They had pork rinds.
Yes. And the wrestlers, they had the midgets.
Hold on, nachos
Right.
aren't a Mexican food?
No,
No, they're Texas food.
Really?
Tex-Mex.
I
food.
told you I was in Puerto Rico looking for queso, chips and queso, and they
Yeah,
were
but
like,
they don't have
I just
corn
kept saying
chips
queso over
in
and over and over
Mexico?
again, and they made fun of me. Hurt my
Oh, they
feelings.
have chips and salsa?
No,
We make fun of you too,
they
but
did
Well,
not bring chips
yeah.
and salsa out to your table.
But you spoke English.
Interesting.
They didn't.
That's Tex-Mex. Huh,
Yeah, it's Tex-Mex.
interesting.
Would you
But
like
over
a
there
beer?
you get what do they call that? Pork rinds?
They bring pork rinds out.
What do they call them in Spanish?
pork
Chicharrón.
grinds,
No,
Rang de porca.
chicharrones.
chicharrones.
Chicharrones. That's right. I forgot
Chicharrones.
it. Yeah. So
Anyway.
Paul,
Every
try
time
not
you-
to roll your R's again.
every
It
time
sounds
you
like
talk
you're
about
clearing
the,
your
the
throat.
nacho libre, it
Libre.
reminds me of Libre. It reminds me of Jack Black. Do you seen that
Yes.
show where he's
Yes.
the
Of course.
works at the convent
He's an idiot.
and he puts on his stretchy pants? I wear my stretchy pants today. I make the soup every single day, and it's so good.
So if you've been to Mexico at all, like Cancun or anywhere, and you go to those like millions of little stalls and shops that they have, they
The
all
Mercado.
sell those little wrestling masks.
Mass, yeah. I got one.
So what is the
We have
what's
one.
the story
They're
behind
characters. They're characters. Oh, I don't know what the story is, but they're all characters, just like the WWE has.
that? So it's their version of WWE.
Yes, but I think it's been around a lot
They
longer.
they wrestle with masks instead
Yeah,
of.
so you'll have El Diablo, right? And
But
he's
it's
all in
the-
red. And he's got a devil head on, or
But it's the
whatever.
same concept. They run around and bounce off each other. It's all fake.
Oh yeah, and they,
So if
they
you
have
call
the
him El
grand entrance.
Diablo, is that offensive to Indians?
The devil?
Yeah, the Red Devil.
I don't know.
I don't know. You have to ask him.
Huh.
Why don't you ask your little person friend?
Yes.
He's not an Indian.
Oh, sorry. I
He's
thought,
a
he was
honky.
I thought he was a little person Indian.
He'd
Do
be a
you mean
diablet.
Native
He's a
American?
diablet.
So you're saying, is it, what do they call it?
Or-
Dot or feather?
You're a
What?
little devil. A
Well,
diablet.
that's
Diablet.
terrible.
Why is that terrible?
I mean, I get it, but that's terrible.
I'm like, you
What's
know
terrible?
what?
Hold
People
on, I
are
missed it.
so sensitive.
I missed it. What'd you
When
say?
you say dot or feather, I mean,
That is offensive. Yeah.
how is that offensive? People are wound too tight nowadays.
They're Indian. Which one? Dot or feather?
Well, I said which one?
I know.
Well, you'd probably say
I
Native
said-
American.
Well, I mean, if you say black, then we say, well, which one? I mean,
So what do you say? You say Asian Indian and Native American Indian?
Yes.
Correct.
Well, there you have it.
Solved.
Man, I nailed it.
Moving on.
ah,
Sean doesn't like that.
no,
It's not as
No.
offensive.
You don't ever like to be told that something is not acceptable.
because here's the thing. I am tired of walking in these little lines that people just decide to make because people's feelings are hurt.
No, I agree.
I
Shut
agree.
the
I
front
don't
door.
think people's feelings are actually hurt.
That's exactly why I don't conform. So they can take turns, line up,
Oh boy.
kissing my ass.
Wow.
I don't care.
All right. So what's
There
the
you go.
first topic of tonight?
Well, we've been on 15 of them. Let's tell you what. Why don't we start with this fantastic.
And my wife has drank all of my booze.
Oh,
It
Oh,
smells
boy.
caramely.
It is.
is
It's
caramely.
very. This is this is a
yummy.
Woodford Reserve. So this one is it's different from any Woodford Reserve that we've ever had because it's a blend of three.
It is a blend.
It's a
And-
master collection.
It's the
So
that's
it's a
right.
hard one to find.
It's the Masters Collection, and it's a blend of three, and it's exactly in the range in which I like. It's 118 proof. I like anything above 115 to
It used to be over 100.
125. Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. I mean,
And it was not a cheap bottle. It's an
No.
expensive bottle.
No, it was
about 100-ish, right? 104, 105.
yeah, well, that's right. It was $103 or something like that.
Yeah.
$4, yeah.
Well
very
worth
nice.
it. Well worth it. It's one of these bourbons, as most bourbons should be, as it's a sipping one. You pour yourself a nice pour, and you just kind of savor it in the front of your palate, and it's sweeter up in the front.
There's some pepper. There's some spiciness that
You got
hits
to be careful. You don't want to be like Jeff and just throw it back and have it hit the back of your tongue because it starts off the whole night as no, it's got to
Actually-
be.
Hit the uvula.
Actually,
gotta
I'm finding-
capture the
Did I
front of
miss
it.
something?
I'm finding a different experience here. It burns the mouth, not the throat, and I don't know why.
Yes.
That's a very
It's because it's
unusual.
alcohol.
I think it smells better than it tastes. It smells.
We've
let me
had a number of
let
those.
me let me
Yeah.
let me rephrase that. It tastes good.
Right.
You smell it and you think, oh, there's
It's
going to
gonna
be
be
a little bit.
amazing,
There's
yeah.
going to be a little sweetness to this bourbon, but you take it, you taste it, and it's just like
Growly. This one's peppery.
it's a
It
little
is.
spicy.
Yeah.
Like I was sharing, you have to learn how to drink these drinks to be able to get the most out of the drinks.
I think
You
we're
know.
still trying to figure that out.
Well, I think this one really caught my eye because for the simple fact that I didn't even realize it until you had brought it. Well, the back of my throat, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Your taste buds in your mouth detect certain tastes around it. And the front of it is where you get the most sweetness from.
Right.
So that's kind of where you want to keep it. You want to keep it in the front part of your mouth. And then when you're done, punk, drop it down. So anyways,
Interesting.
that's a Dudes Like Us moment. I'm Sean, and
It's all
thank
in,
you.
It's all in technique. It's technique.
Yeah.
It's the Sean
Yeah,
technique.
Sean's technique. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, it's good. It's 118.4, as you mentioned. It is a blend of three different ones.
Yeah, they call it the Masters Keep batch proof. I don't know if that's. I think batch proof may be a Woodford Reserve term.
Yeah, maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah. They mention it's the same.
It's their proprietary process of blending barrels into a batch and then bottling the whiskey at its actual proof straight from the barrel.
Right.
So they don't dumb it down, which is beautiful.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means it's a very carefully selected blend, is what that means.
Yeah, and it's
Because otherwise, when you're tinkering with it, right, You got some blends going on. You're adding a little of this, a little of that, a little bit of water, a little bit of blah, 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 blah. They're just going straight from the barrels.
So
Perfect blend.
Right.
I hate
Boom.
to say this, but I am gravitating towards enjoying the C note bourbons. The bourbons that have a tendency to be around $100 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, bourbons. I don't want you to feel left out that are in the 30, 40, 50, 70, 80 range. A lot of you guys are very enjoyable too. However, the last since we started compiling our allowances together to purchase more expensive bottles, we're starting to enjoy it. The more expensive bottles, their taste fantastic. Like this one's great. The one we had last week was great. That country county.
No, that was
That was
Old Weller.
Val.
Pardon?
The one-
county something.
Kings
Kings
County.
County.
Kings
Yeah.
County.
That was.
County.
I mean,
Yeah,
it was
it was
foul
delicious.
because it was strong. Again, it's technique on how you're drinking it, and
Yeah, I was even stronger than this.
Yeah.
I think it was 125.
Yeah.
This
The
is
Old
good, though.
Weller. Yeah, the Old Weller
oh
we
my
had
god,
last week.
that was a
that's-
dream.
That was
that's a 40
107.
That's a
right?
$40 bottle.
107?
Yeah, the 8. Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
old,
that is amazing. That was only a $40 bottle. I think it was 56. But regardless, it wasn't
Yeah.
$100.
So honestly, I'm gonna have to. I mean, we've said for a while now that we're gonna go back through we're gonna cycle back through, right? We've got 180 of them now, right? So we're gonna cycle back through and start paying attention and writing and logging these things, right?
right.
And I think we're gonna find. This is just my take. I think we're gonna find that there was a lot of them that we enjoyed just as much as these $100 bottles.
No.
That's what I think is gonna happen. But
I think so. Because there's a lot of good ones
I
out
hope
there.
so.
You know, Noah's Mill, Rare Breed, they're in the $50 range.
yeah,
Well, the only way
Right.
we bought 4 large, is it a gallon or multi-gallon?
Yeah, I brought those
It's
up
a
in the
gallon.
box. I need to stick them
Yeah.
underneath.
So we for our infinity bottles, and the only way we're going to fill those is
Is
if
to go
we
through the
if we
hoops.
rummage through
Yeah.
the bottles. So
agreed.
I'm going to propose that we, instead of doing 2 new ones a week, that we do a fresh one, and then we
Recycle.
rehab another
Recycle.
one.
All right, so we'll grab one on the way down tonight because we have one more new one. We'll save that for next week.
And then
My
we-
inner monologue
so
was
are
like,
we
"Not
just going to
tonight."
grab one randomly off the shelf?
Yeah, just go out there. And one of us,
Ah, it's
whoever
so
whoever it is,
hard.
Sean, you pick it. You go out there on the way
Okay,
down,
I'll pick it.
and
I'll
you
pick
pick
it.
We'll do the
You'll
thing.
pick something gross.
We'll do the thing where you have to put your forehead on a bat and you run around in
Oh,
circles,
I'm going to pick the one
and
I
then we'll
want.
push
Then
you
he-
over to the.
Hey,
Then
look,
he
here's
rams
the
his head
thing.
through the glass.
We
Oh.
pick the one we want. Okay,
let's not
I'll
do
tell you
that.
what.
And then it knocks over the whole cabinet.
Are you sure
and
you want to start with me tonight?
I think it's a bad idea. My idea was bad.
Just-
Yeah.
Okay,
We
Paul
just
starts.
wanted you to get there.
I don't care who starts.
Well, because I'm going to pick the one I want. I don't
It
want to
sounded
spin a
fun.
roulette wheel and
Well, yeah, go out there, whatever one you want. The
But
next
you have
week,
to close your eyes.
the next
and then
week,
you have
Paul
to
will
grab
pick
one.
one. The next week, I'll pick it.
There we go.
yeah. Speaking of pick it, man, we had this weekend was my dad's 80th birthday,
Oh yeah,
and we first of all I want
it
to
was
say
fun.
I want to
It
say
was a
thank
lot
you
of
guys
fun.
for coming out. That was a lot of fun. We had great food, and we played the trivia game, which was fun.
Which
lot
the
of-
men dominated that, I believe.
Well,
No, you did
know,
not dominate the game.
We did dominate the game.
Yeah, that's not surprising to
You
me.
get you.
I wasn't there, but I could have told you that happened.
We were winning.
5 pies to
and
1.
We
Yeah.
were
Oh my
winning
Oh my gosh.
They
until
were-
Jeff started
They had a
drinking,
commanding lead.
5
and
to
then
1.
Jeff started drinking.
Oh, when
No.
he drinks,
They-
he
no,
becomes like this
here's what
mastermind.
happened. They were having questions like, "What is the color of a red candy apple?"
It's brown, isn't it?
Yeah.
Red caramel apple. Yeah.
Yes, it is actually.
Oh, good.
You would have gotten it right. You would have gotten it wrong.
Well, you know what? So here's they just got a bunch of easy ones. That's really the bottom line. You know what? Who cares though? Because the reality of it is, we
Jeff
won.
started drinking and started pulling the shit out of his
Yeah.
ass. Pardon my English.
No, well, you
You need
guys
to
started
mark that.
asking questions that we knew.
Yeah, there were a bunch that
That's
we
the
did
whole
not know.
thing.
I mean,
Especially
they were,
if you study all the cards, it's which ones you remember.
Yeah, well, you know, Jeff, he was like there all night, just kind of like
I had it memorized.
Yeah, he had that look on his face with the bandana. I
Well,
remember
didn't
he
you
was like,
buy after that game? Didn't you buy?
yeah, they came in.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I forgot all about it. Jeff was like, "We need to buy some more." And he sent me a link, and I was like, "Tick, tick, tick, buy." And it showed up because I was like, "What the hell is this?" And what is it? The 80s? I'm sorry,
80s?
the 2000s and 2010.
Well, it's decades. No, it's 80s, 90s, 2000, and 2000. I think it's 4 decks.
Is that
Yeah.
what you played with?
No, they're brand new, and we said deck, not deck. Easy.
He said, "Is that what you play with?"
No.
Did you play with it?
God.
No, hold on.
Sorry.
So you played with the original cards?
This the other night we did.
No, because there was a Taylor Swift question.
Well, she was alive back in the late 90s, wasn't she? When did she come
Yeah.
on the scene?
Well,
the original
she-
Trivial Pursuit's from the 70s or 80s.
Well, I mean, whatever. You know, I don't. This one is an older board game. I don't know when this original board game came out, but it doesn't matter because we have we needed more cards. I mean,
Well,
we've
you
been
play
playing
it.
the game
You
for
play
a
it
while.
20 times. You're going to get through the questions.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that
I
may
just
be
remember
part of
every time we ever played as kids, and I'm talking about the original game with the original cards. I mean, it was freaking impossible, especially the brown
yeah.
and the pink.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like nobody knew the answers to anything. You might know one that was sports, but when you did get sports, it was about horse racing or some crap like that.
Golf.
And right, golf or horse racing or car racing, and you're like, okay, pass.
Yeah, he was the number one backyard dart thrower. You know,
Right.
Well,
in
there
the year 1922.
Well, there were two or three racing ones. This
oh yeah, a female
list.
NASCAR racer.
Yeah, she goes, who is, I don't remember her name, Lindsay James, and what is she famous for?
Hmm.
No, she was
She's
the
a lawn
first
dart- just
NASCAR.
lawn
No,
dart
she was the
champion.
first NASCAR
No,
driver.
her
at-
name was the answer.
She was the anchor in the rowboating in the Olympics 2020.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I didn't like playing that game. I would much rather play a different board game because it just
No, I like Trivial Pursuit.
I like Trivial Pursuit. I also enjoy the Pictionary. You know, Pictionary.
I like Pictionary. That's
Hey.
fun. Everybody can draw stuff, and then you can make fun of people who can't.
What is it
Trivial
that we-
Pursuit
Oh, it's
was
what are we looking
released
for?
in 1981.
There we go. I
No,
nailed it.
1979.
It was
81.
released.
It was
81.
created.
81
It was created.
Yeah, it was created in
Doesn't matter.
1979 in Montreal
Released.
by Chris Haney.
doesn't matter. 81.
A photo editor of Montreal's The Gazette, and Scott Abbott's a sports editor of the Canadian Press. After finding pieces of their Scrabble game missing, they decided to create their own game. The
Huh,
fuck out
that's
of
kind of
here.
cool.
Fuck outta here.
I like the game.
I
I don't-
enjoy it. You know,
I don't know what
It
it's
was
called.
fun.
But-
It was fun.
It added a great. I'll tell you what. The last time my dad came over, he had a really good time playing trivia, and
He got pretty lit the other night.
Oh yeah,
Your dad did?
Oh yeah, my
Oh,
dad
yeah.
got more than lit. You know?
Well, you sent a
Oh, no.
picture of his hat.
My dad got spanked, and I mean, he drank a lot of wine, and he was just like, he said, I just didn't realize how drunk I was until I got up.
Until you stand up.
He said, he says, I felt fine sitting there. I was like a little tipsy, and then I got up, and I was like, holy shit!
That's how it happens.
I said, Dad,
So you had to help him to the car, and
oh,
They
dude.
had
your
to
mom
drive him
drove?
home.
We had to send a posse over there. My dad weighs 300 pounds. We had to send people over there to.
who drove him home? You drove him
So
home.
my mom drove home, which is a story in itself. Thank God they made it. And then my Austin, our producer, followed him along with my daughter's roommate, Alex. And they drove down there in the van, and they pulled out my dad and got him back in the house. And then I got a phone call from my mom.
Oh, that's why they followed him, because they knew they were going to need to help
yeah,
him
because
get
they
in the
had
house.
they had to get him to the
His
house.
room, yeah.
And then my mom calls me about 15 minutes later. He got up to go to the bathroom and fell down and cut himself.
Oh,
And
no.
I was just like, God.
Oh my goodness.
So I called the next
Just let him
day.
urinate in the bed next
Go.
time.
Lord have mercy.
That's
Well,
what we
you know
all
what
do
though?
after podcasts.
I just want to
just on the
say
floor.
thanks
Yeah.
because you know all
Yeah, on
my
Evan Williams night.
my kids, which are usually undependable, were all dependable. They all chimed in and worked, and they were there as a family. I
That's
thought it was pretty
great.
cool.
And Preston FaceTimed so he could wish him a happy
yeah,
birthday.
well, he sang happy
Excellent.
birthday.
I
And
He was
like
nude,
that.
though, wasn't he?
I didn't see the video.
I didn't either. I heard hi JD, so I somehow doubt he was naked.
Probably shirtless, though.
Hold on,
No,
JD's
yeah.
not even living there.
He was
went
down
down
for
this
the
past
weekend.
Oh, okay,
Wow.
interesting.
Alrighty.
Yeah, apparently his favorite drink is Bush Apple, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Oh,
So
Bush
it's
apple.
Bush beer and Apple
I guess.
Jack.
It's Bush beer, and it's
Those
called Bush apple.
Mills. Bushmills.
So
No, it's not
it's
Bushmills. It's
flavored
Bush beer.
No.
Oh,
It's a mix of
That
beer
sounds.
and
That's like a seltzer,
Apple.
right?
I don't know. It
sort
comes
of
in a red
apple
box.
apple
Oh.
whiskey.
That's
Steven got it for him.
That sounds like diarrhea waiting to happen.
Austin, can you pull that up for us?
What,
Oh,
Bush
I'm so
apple?
scared.
Bush apple. Oh, maybe you shouldn't.
Well,
Who
just
knows what we're gonna get?
Head for the bush.
Well, he's spelling it correct.
Head for the mountain.
How come I don't have any
A
of those?
Bush Light
Yeah, there you
apple.
Oh, okay. So,
it's a
it
crisp
is a
apple,
made beer.
and it's a.
go. It's a cider. Is it a cider?
Oh,
Oh,
gross.
look at you in the lisp, boy! Stepping out of the closet.
Whatever.
God, write that down.
Put a little
Yeah, you-
fireball
that
in
may be
it.
a first.
I think that's the first I
That's
ever
the
heard
first
you
time
lisp.
I've heard the list.
Oh, no. I'm
Put
That's
a
good
little-
word.
It was actually excellently
Put a
done.
little
It was.
fireball
From
in
a
there, and it's
professional, that was
angry
good.
Oh,
balls.
that was really, really good.
He is. I heard you, Julie. I'm still taken away by Jeff, but that's all right. So add a little fireball in there. That's probably a great drink, right?
It's
No.
called an angry balls.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll
but-
pick some of that up this week.
So put
Or
some
not.
blue
It's a
Caraco
cider.
on there, and they're
Gross,
called
though.
some angry blue balls.
Mm,
there you go.
gross.
You know the blue Caraco you put in there, angry blue balls.
Why would that be angry?
Well, if your balls are blue, I'd be
Well, that
angry.
would be angry, yes.
Is that based on, I guess, angry,
Experience?
angry Orchard?
Angry Orchard, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife went through a phase of drinking Angry Orchard because it was gluten-free ciders, right?
Yeah, it's a
And they're-
cider.
But they're so sweet.
It had
Ugh,
too much sugar in it.
I can't do it.
Yeah, they're highly caloric.
Yeah, can't do it.
Wow, that bourbon is.
Stout.
I pulled that one back a little too hard. You got to remember, this is sipping bourbon.
Did it slam the back
It's
of your
sipping.
throat?
It did. It was a big old.
You know the taste buds are
Blob.
they're at the front of your mouth, Sean. So the way you're supposed to drink it is,
You just lap,
Yeah.
lap it with your tongue like a dog.
Well, the thing is, I was thirsty. And I was thinking I was picking up. I mean, I've got like 3 drinks in front of me. I got a bottle of water, a beer, and a bearded butcher can't. What is that called? A koozie?
Koozie.
Bearded butcher koozie? What is that? What kind
Are
of what
there
are we,
any
what are we
more
drinking?
beers up here?
Yingling. Do what?
Are there any more beers up here?
No, you drank all of it.
Okay.
yeah.
Go
What's
get a
up with
couple.
that? So you plop in unannounced and drink all of his alcohol, all of his bourbon and all of his beer.
I have not had all of his bourbon
Yeah.
yet.
Well, had Jeff
Wow.
not given away the dudes like us refrigerator, we probably would have some
What?
cold beer.
The one that was up here is gone.
Yes.
Stephen has
He
it.
Yes, the
donated to
one
the
that y'all
cause.
haven't used at all.
Well,
Well, we
we
haven't
were
had an
right around the
opportunity.
corner from using it.
We were in the developing stages of preparing our green room.
Yes,
and-
we'll
or
probably,
Blue Room. What do
we'll
we
probably
wanna
get
call
another one. We
Well,
need to go
it
hit
will
some
never
estate
be that
sales.
cold.
We do need to hit some estate sales.
You should probably hit them early on a Friday morning and not late on a Saturday afternoon.
Swing by, look for some unicorns
that
at
silly
Total
thing
Wine,
called work gets in the way.
and then
Take
don't-
a day off.
Yeah, I have this Thursday and Friday off, so we can go.
you have Thursday and Friday off.
Yes, I took it off.
Oh, you took it off.
He has vacation to burn
Oh, that's right, you do.
because he didn't spend any of the summer with me.
Yeah,
Well, that's because you were.
It's kinda fun, though,
you
to
were under
take off
the
these-
weather. I mean, you were
yeah. You had
riddled
surgeries
with surgeries
and all sorts
and
of stuff.
I mean, shit, I haven't seen you without some sort of ailment going on.
Not like you could go mountain climbing and water skiing and parachuting and all the things that guys normally do
Yeah.
Sure, we could have.
with your bum knee.
My knee's not bum. I had surgery in March.
Well, it's feeling good now.
Hold on.
We went on
I'm still
vacation
hearing
in
Jeff lisp.
May.
I just played it back in my mind.
It was that well done, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty good.
it was just unexpected.
Yeah. Some of our listeners out there are really aroused. She doesn't call in sick. Why would she call in sick?
Because she's gonna get shit faced.
She's not going to get shit faced.
It's 118 proof. Little ladies just aren't used to
And
it.
you have not had
I've
dinner
not
yet.
even. I had 2 pieces of pizza, and I haven't even had an ounce of it. I think I'm okay.
So
We'll
my
see.
dad's birthday party, they
Yes.
had set up. There was I made a brisket. There was it was a kind of a
Salmon?
German Tara made salmon.
There are salmon chunks.
The salmon was good. Don't get me wrong. I had a piece of salmon.
was good.
It
It was
was just
tasty.
the thing about it is she wrapped it up in foil. It was just a little hard to manage from a consumer's point. You know, and of course you don't eat salmon, but if you
I just
were,
put it on
you
my
would
plate.
enjoyed it. I mean, I ate it. It was good. Peel the skin off. You know.
This was Tara made this or something?
Yeah.
The salmon.
Well, Tara likes salmon a lot. I mean, we
Okay.
eat salmon a lot. So there was salmon, potato salad. The girls made a lot, cabbage. Well, I had
the cabbage was
healthy-
good.
There was red
Helping
cabbage
serving of
and green
cabbage.
cabbage. It was so
That
good.
came back and bit me the next morning.
Oh boy!
I
What do you
can-
mean
Not
bit?
me.
Explosively.
What
It
do you mean
didn't.
bit you? How?
It didn't
Oh,
bite
just
me.
my BM was very forceful.
Oh wow!
Really?
He
Yeah.
wasn't gassy though.
No, it was all just.
Have you ever?
There was a cork.
Why do we keep heading back to that lately?
I don't know. Sean wanted to talk about your best poops
No.
earlier today.
So, anyways, then dessert came by, and we had some chocolate cake and some other stuff going on. It's funny. There was that. What is it called? A Napoleon? What is the different color
Sherbet?
one?
Neapolitan.
The
Neapolitan
was that one?
sherbet.
Well, no, not the sherbet, but the cake.
That was not Neapolitan, but it had vanilla and chocolate layers.
Yeah, what is that called? Well, anyways, we had that. It had layers of thing on
Ice cream and
it wasn't ice cream.
It was like
it
2
was-
days later. My daughter Madeline, she had a piece. She had hid it from somewhere, and she put it on the island, and then put a fork there, and
Oh no.
kind of like, "Hey, here you go, eat it."
And walked away.
And
Oh,
you
she
ate it.
gave it to you?
And she had turned around, and I ate the cake like in seconds, and she turned back around with the fork.
You didn't even have a fork.
Oh, she was gonna.
You just
share
picked it up and ate it.
She was gonna share it with you.
Yeah, she was gonna share it with me, and then I ate the whole fucking thing before, and then
the look on her face, I'm sure, was
and
priceless.
the thing is because I've been fasting during the day, and so this was right around the time where I'm allowed to eat. So I was just like, score, and I'm so hungry. I was just like, gone. I mean, it was just a funny moment. And anyways, we had that Black Forest chocolate cherry cake. We had a few pieces in there. She didn't know, so I pulled one out, gave it to her. But it was a success. I want to say thanks for you guys for coming in. Paul was busy. He had some
tier
tier
ones.
1 stuff going
No,
on.
not tier 1. Just had made plans because I didn't know that it was anything other than a intimate
I'm not
family
gonna-
event.
I'm not going to beat you up on it, but
What's
Yeah.
interesting is they hung up a big poster that said, in the year 1942, and it had, the top 5 hits, the price of the
Oh,
top
awesome.
5 things.
Yes.
And it had
Other people born
other
in
people
this year.
born in 1942.
That's very cool.
So number 1, Muhammad Ali.
yeah.
no kidding.
Number 2, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
His
and
dad
that party,
saw it, he
and
went-
the party took a dark turn, huh?
Yeah, things got really crappy after that. Son of a bitch! I didn't know. I knew it, but I didn't want to accept it. And there it is in print.
You got them all wound up, huh?
I told Jeff to take a picture of it and send it to his dad since he celebrated
Did
his
you?
80th
I
earlier
did
this
not.
year.
No, I
Nice.
never did.
No, I got my dad a cool T-shirt. It said 1942, awesome year or something like that. August.
80 years.
Oh, you know what? I mean, shit. God, that's not that far.
We
Time
can
is
all
moving
hope
fast.
that we're in the same condition as your dad when we're 80.
Yeah, and he's not.
You mean
he's-
drunk?
He did get silly. He got drunk. Oh, well.
He had a fun time.
Yeah, he did,
did
and
have-
that was what
That
was
is
cool.
great.
That was what
Absolutely
was cool,
great.
and it was one of those moments where it was just everything worked out. It was just usually at my house there's something that fucks it up. Something happens, and nothing happened. So it was awesome.
Nice. That's good.
What'd you point your finger at me?
Because you're the reason why it usually gets messed up.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Sean usually farts. Just,
Oh.
And everybody leaves.
yeah, or throws a stink bomb.
Oh, but
Ugh,
oh,
you and your
wait,
stink
it
bombs.
was you farting. You'd step back from the conversation,
Well, at least he did that. That's a first.
That's true.
and your sister called you on it. Not even your wife or your kids. Your sister called you on it.
Sometimes you got to fart. If you don't fart, it's going to give you a tummy ache. I just. I have my moments. I try to
Dude,
pull
you
it
were
back.
talking to Jeff. You could have just farted.
She blames me.
But
So.
it is you. You rubbed off on me because you fart wherever you're at. You do not care, and your wife doesn't get mad like my wife.
That's not true. Let me tell you how when we left on the car ride home, and
He
as
had
we
held
were
it.
getting as we were getting ready
She
for
was like,
bed,
"Of course, this means war."
No, she can battle good.
She Dutch ovens you at night.
She does Dutch oven.
Honey, don't do it. Honey, don't do it.
no, mine are just silent and deadly.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's why she
God.
can blame me.
Yeah.
That's when the dog is
And
all
usually I start to giggle,
euthanized.
and that's when he knows he's in trouble.
No, she's like, ooh, that had a little heat.
Oh. Well, that burned on the way out.
Oh, boy.
And you're like, what? Oh.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Yes.
All right.
That
Dudes
kind of
like this
reminds
moment,
me.
we had, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that kind of reminds me. You're like, in the moment, I worked at IBM long ago.
Irritable bowel movement. What?
No, and IBM, the International Business Machines.
Those are the computers of the 80s.
Yes.
Go on.
They're
Anywho,
still around.
I worked there.
I think they're
and
printers now.
I had called a manager up in Chicago because I needed to get somebody scheduled to go do some work. And he's just talking to me, socializing, and we're maybe 10 minutes in the conversation. And I've got a new hire sitting with me because he's training. And
He just lets one rip.
I hear this noise, and he goes, "Well, I guess you know where I am now." And then the echo of where he was
In the bathroom.
actually sunk in.
Oh, no.
He had flushed the toilet,
no.
Come on.
and I turned and I looked at the person,
hire.
on the phone with me, and we're like,
Right?
and
That-
it was we hung
You
out.
just don't do that.
We hung out,
No.
and they were like, "You handled that so well."
Well, hopefully
and I'm
it wasn't
like-
Jeffrey Tubin it.
I don't know
Right.
what that means.
No,
so
you don't want to know
I
what
don't.
that means.
Well, that's the guy from CNN that was masturbating on the
Ugh.
Zoom phone call.
Really?
The work Zoom call. Pulled his junk
He
out.
he
so-
finally, and he took a leave of absence. He came back, and then they let him go. He was tired. I think it was too
Well,
much.
CNN is starting to clear house.
Yeah, it was too much to kind of deal with. I think, or
The
maybe they
the
just
potato-
maybe they just clearing house.
The
They
potato.
put him back. He
Yeah.
was grounded for like 6 months.
Well,
He
he's
came
back, but he's gone now. Again, the same with Stelter. Stelter got canned.
yeah, he got canned.
Good riddance.
And
Good
I,
Stelter's
riddance.
such a
I know, and I
jack
think
weed.
I think Don Lemon is.
He's next.
I hope.
Yeah.
Well, he survived that the gay guy sexual assault claim.
Well,
How's that?
that's when you had different leadership at CNN. The guy in there now wants
Yeah, there
to
was a
distance
guy that
himself.
was claiming that he sexually assaulted him.
Yeah.
A guy, because he's gay.
Whatever. I'm so sick of this stuff.
I know it.
You know what? I don't even care. I just want the fucking news. Bring back the Darth Vader voice when we were attacking in Iraq. That was when CNN was almost reasonably responsible with the news.
Bernard Shaw and John
Yeah.
Holloman.
And something Wolf. What
They
was
all,
that?
they all became
Wolf Blitzer.
Wolf
Blitzer.
Yeah, but he
it's
became-
just as bad
you
now,
kinda
too.
got-
became
gotta miss-
totally woke.
Oh,
you got to
just
kind of miss the
embarrassing.
days of Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
maybe.
You
And
know,
that
and-
was the news.
But the thing is and you believe those guys because those were your grandpa. Those were the authority of wisdom.
Yes.
You know, where they would sit there and when they had an
You
opinion.
trusted him. You totally
they-
trusted him.
Yeah. It's just like, oh,
Absolutely.
Dan
well,
Rather, Tom Brokaw. Who else?
Absolutely.
Well, both of them ruined their careers.
They did. Dan Rather pushed a fake story.
Yeah, he lied
Yeah,
about
and,
George Bush.
yeah, and got totally. Yeah, who were some of
Railroaded.
who were some of the other big time?
Well, Tom Brokaw did. He
Mhm.
got canned as well.
Who was the
well,
guy
Peter
that?
Jennings.
Peter Jennings did as well.
Jennings. Yeah,
Who were some of the Good Morning America people? Because in the beginning,
Matt Lauer.
another one. You,
Oh, he
you
was a-
trusted.
he was
Katie
a serial. He was a serial.
You trusted until it all came out, and you're like, "Wow."
Yeah. Well, he got busted
was
for
Matt
sexual
Lauer,
assault.
He was he a
Robin
rapist?
Roberts.
I mean, yeah, there's something
It was
happened.
sexual-
George Stephanopoulos.
He had a button that locked the door of his office, and the women couldn't get out.
Yeah.
That's hot.
That was wow.
Sean's like, no, I'm going to noted. I'm building it.
Nice. Anyway, yeah, you're right. I mean, that was different.
Yeah.
You had
We don't
Roger,
have that
You had
anymore.
Roger Mudd, which is before. Same time as Cronkite, I think, but that's back in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, Barbara Walters and
Barbara Wawa.
you had Sam Donaldson,
Oh, with the
Larry
hair.
King.
Mike Wallace, and Connie Chung. Remember Connie?
Do you
Oh, yeah.
remember Connie Chung?
She was married to Maury Povich.
Maury Povich.
Yeah, he had his own. What was it called?
Daytime
show.
talk show.
Yeah,
that
those were some
2,
old
3
school.
o'clock hour.
Those were some old school anchors.
And
And it seems like all the ones today are getting canned because they're not doing a good job. You know, I mean, Dan Rather stumbled off. All these ones that were good stumbled and fell and ruined their career.
Their legacy.
so who,
and the ones today are
Just don't even have
unbelievable.
They don't even have a
They're not
legacy.
credible. Yeah.
They don't have the believability, the trust, like Joe Scarborough.
Everybody's a partisan hack now on both sides.
Well, it is.
Yes.
I mean,
who
like
was
I
the-
like Hannity, but when we watch him, we're
Sean
like,
Hannity?
come on. We're like, come on, man.
Sean Hannity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He's just too.
But
too-
he touts
over the
himself
top.
as an opinion speaker. He doesn't classify his show as news.
as news.
Yeah.
Right?
It's an opinion show.
Yeah,
And you
it-
know
They're
that.
all opinion
But it
shows.
gets
That's
obnoxious
when
after
things
all.
fell apart. It was all
But-
editorial.
But CNN and MSNBC market themselves as news. That's not.
It's not news.
When you have the opinion shows on at Fox, at least they tell you that,
yeah,
right? The news shows are like Brett Baer or Bear, or however you say his name.
Bear.
You know,
I think it's
Brett
Bear.
Baer.
he
and
tells the
then, you know,
news. He doesn't tell his opinions.
Right.
At least not like
I
some
mean,
of
I
the other
remember
shows.
when they had headline news, and you would go there, and it was nothing but headline news. But then they shit canned all of that kind of stuff, and it's all opinions. It's
Yeah,
pundits.
well, 60 Minutes
It's
started
all-
off like that.
it's
you
all
know?
pundits.
When 60 Minutes came on, there was that was what news was. And
See,
now 60 Minutes it's wokeism.
I always
Yeah.
thought of 60 Minutes as skewed. I never thought it was.
You had a trust issue with them?
I did.
Really interesting.
And I
Yeah.
don't know why. Potentially my father, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
Your dad used to beat you?
Oh.
during
During
60
the show?
minutes.
No, no.
He's like, 60 minutes
Well,
is on.
I
You're
mean,
going to get 60 minutes
this-
of a beating.
I don't, for the 60 Minutes, I mean, the original one came out like in 1968. You had Leslie Stahl, Scott Pelley, Bill Whitaker, and John Dickerson that first started off. And at the very end, they had the guy with the mustache and the curly black hair, and he would always come up with something kind of funny. Kind of
Art Rooney, was that his name?
mm.
Rooney. Remember the old guy at the end who would always
It
have his
wasn't
little
Art.
commentary?
Yeah,
he
a little
would
bit.
have something.
Justin Rooney.
He would
No.
compare like
Milt.
a product or something kind of happy and that's I'm Al Rooney.
Something Rooney, where he would just, it'd be like a 5-minute commentary
Right.
on something that was going on.
And the guy that replaced him, sort of,
Andrew Rooney.
Andrew Rooney.
Andrew Rooney, and then the guy that replaced him in that sort of role, and I don't know if that was 2020 or 60 Minutes, he also had a mustache, and he was like, tell it like it is. I mean, he would slam big business or slam, something.
Oh, I don't know.
You know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't watch
Ah.
60 Minutes. I watched it. If there was a story on there that was going to interest me, I would watch it. But I am not religious at all on 60 Minutes.
He had a very investigative report type of
John
thing.
Stossel.
That's it. That may be it.
Yes.
And he had the mustache?
Yes.
Yes, that's the guy
The
I'm
dark
thinking
hair.
of.
Yeah,
Yes,
John
that's the guy I'm
Stossel.
thinking of.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
funny.
very black and white, kind of investigative reporting. Right?
Correct.
They've got a quote here about Andy Rooney. It says, Andy Rooney, a cranky voice of CBS, dies at 92.
Cranky.
Cranky voice of CBS.
When did he die? Wow, back
Dies at 92.
in
At 92 or
1992?
in 92?
At 92. Dies at 92. That was like November 6th, 2011.
Oh,
That's
So I guess
11.
that's when he died. November 5th, 6th.
and we're still talking about him.
That was 11 years ago.
Yeah, well, he was good. I enjoyed listening to him because he just brought up a bunch of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I never really thought of. I guess now that Julie mentioned it, it may been tilted a little bit or skewed. I never, see, that's just him back then. You didn't think of it. You just hoped that they were just talking the news. You didn't really think it was.
You trusted
jaded.
the news.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't trust
Well,
anything.
that's what I think now. Is like, well, did Walter Cronkite skew it? It just wasn't known,
Right.
right? Because it was Walter Cronkite and one or two other people. That was it.
It's like the only news you can trust now. The number one news
I don't think
that you can trust all the time is the Weather Channel. That's
and
about
they have
it.
they're
no idea
wrong.
what they're talking
And
about.
they're wrong
and that-
50% of the time.
They're wrong half the time, you know. But it's just like they
It's not
get it
going to
right.
rain today, and you're looking out your window, and
But
it's
people
pouring.
have more respect for the Weather Channel than they do of any of the other ones. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Until they start talking climate change.
God, climate change is another ridiculous thing that they keep bringing up. You know, they're
Everything.
but
Everything is
we are going
because
through
of climate change.
some crazy things right now. There was a news story. I didn't print it up with me and bring it. I wish I would have. It's the Hoover Dam. Is it Lake Mead
Lake
that
Mead.
feeds into the Hoover Dam?
Yeah,
We've been there.
It's getting low.
It is dangerously low. It is 150 feet low.
And haven't they found like 4 bodies so far?
Yeah, they're finding a bunch of bodies.
Yeah,
like
That
all the
doesn't
cars.
One was
me.
in a barrel, one was wrapped in plastic with rocks on it. I mean, all the people that like disappear and get thrown into lakes, they're
They're starting to
finding
find
them.
them.
I shouldn't be laughing. Why am I laughing?
Yeah, that was odd.
God.
That
was my brother.
It wasn't like an uncomfortable laugh. It was kind of like you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Kind of like maybe you participated.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, they're just like when we had the drought, 5-6 years ago, and they're down in Lake Travis. You'd see these lake beds dry up, and there's cars.
Oh, they just had a report
Yep.
in Texas of finding a dinosaur
yeah.
footprints, in the limestone
Right.
that have been underwater forever.
Yeah.
And now I think that's pretty cool. I don't know where that's at.
Well, they're
In-
also
in
solving
Texas dinosaur footprints.
So they're also solving missing persons things.
Oh,
They found a car with skeletons in it, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's where they were. They're missing."
Right.
And they drove into the lake. How does that happen? How do you?
Drive into a lake?
I guess.
Well, it's purposeful sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some
Other
could
times it could
it's
be
an attempted
someone- Kinda-
suicide.
Yeah.
Sometimes
think
it could be.
I would imagine most of the time it's
a
purposeful.
Kennedy moment when you're drunk and you kill your secretary because you're too drunk to drive.
That's just Chappaquiddick.
So, yeah, I guess it all depends on the circumstances, right? I mean, I guess you could be on a bridge and you swerve off and you go through the guardrail and into the lake, but then they would see the big gap in the guardrail.
Right.
And they would
something
go-
happened here.
And then they would be like, okay, let's send divers into the lake. But otherwise, is it most of the time suicide? It's just weird.
Well, I think it's murder as well
Oh.
because they just found that teenager who was missing from California, and
Oh, the teenager.
The
Yeah,
scuba
yeah.
divers were in a lake and they found a car, and she was in it, and they're thinking that someone put her in it, and
She was dead before
I don't know.
went in there.
They've been searching for her for a couple weeks,
Yeah, I know.
and they found
Interesting.
her.
Oh, that's right. It was just, that's where the police were like, they didn't want to investigate it. They were like, no, we searched that whole lake all the way over there. We went up and down. There's no reason to go in that lake and look. And these people were like, no, we're going to go do it anyways. They were like, well, here's our paperwork. You can take over. We're done. You're stupid. You're stupid. You're stupid. There's no reason why you need to be going to that lake and
I
looking
didn't
because
hear
we've
any
already
of
looked.
this.
Yeah.
All right. That was the mentality they gave the people, and it was crazy because they have them on TV talking like that, and so they went ahead and took. They said they took the last ping that was on the phone.
Right.
They went out exactly where that ping was at, the
And
GPS,
they found the car.
and they put the equipment right out there, and boom, the car was right below them.
That's so ridiculous.
20 minutes out there, boom, they found it, and the police just kind of backpedaled through the whole thing. They were like, sorry, there are programs that we need to clearly work on when it comes to being thorough on this.
you think?
They finally
Yeah.
lose their hick accent. Yeah.
So that severe drought I was talking about in Texas, it revealed what they're saying it to be 113 million year old dinosaur tracks
Yeah.
in
Dang.
the Dinosaur Valley State Park.
Well, thank God for droughts.
Yeah, but it's hard to fathom 113 million years.
Yeah, that's so.
Or somebody
That,
with a
that
print.
it would still be there.
But
Well,
that
I mean,
too,
it's,
actually,
well,
it's
it's
in
been
limestone.
Well, it surprises me that it's not full of silt and just hasn't been full of just shit that's fallen into it. That it's actually empty.
yeah.
Yeah, that is kinda weird.
They are coming
don't believe
out
it.
with
It's fake.
Yeah, I
It is
wouldn't say
fake
it's
news.
fake, but what I will say is I think that there are a lot of discoveries that they're finding out where they find newer products from like the 19th century and the 18th century that are obviously man-made and obviously made from that time era that are stuck inside of igneous rock or some sort of limestone, which technically should have taken a million years to form, but how else could it have been in the rock unless it was formed within that time frame.
Yeah.
So it is possible. It's not clear on how it could be how it's done, but it is possible. The old spark plug in a is it a spark plug? It looks more like an XLR cable end is in the side of a rock, a 3-prong electrical kind of thing. It's very interesting. They still don't know what that is. They found that in the rock.
From 113 million years ago.
Well, that's what they're claiming. I mean, they have there's a Texas hammer that was supposedly supposed to be 50 million years old. They were found that some dude was walking on his property in the middle of Texas and picked up this rock, and there was a handle sticking out of it. He was like, that kind of looks like a hammer. And, he started looking at it a little bit clearer, and it surely was. It was a
craftsman?
I want to say it's a London hammer, they call
Stanley.
it, but it's from, it's a London hammer. I think it's called the London hammer,
Milwaukee.
but it's from
HDX.
Texas, where they found it.
I thought
DeWalt.
it was called Jim Adler.
Jim
The
Adler,
hammer.
the Texas
You're a
hammer.
jackwagon.
Oh,
But-
good one.
but
Thank
here's-
you. Thank you.
Here's
There we
what's
go.
interesting about the hammer, okay, is that the iron that was in the head of the hammer was more pure than than iron that we get anywhere. It's more pure than any iron that we can find on the planet.
Because it was from a foreign planet.
No, they're not insinuating that it's not
Oh.
from this
Maybe the
planet.
process was different
They're-
back then.
Or from Houston.
or where they got it. It was just
It was from
more
a
pure.
meteorite.
Well, whatever. It was just they can't find a more pure iron. And there's a couple artifacts like in Cambodia where they have some of these temples. There's one temple where they have an iron pole where it comes out. It's like 30 foot tall and it's about 8 inches in diameter. And they're like, well, what is the story behind this pole? Well, it's been there for thousands of years. We have no idea. It's iron, and they're like, well, it's
Strippers.
made of the same
Yeah, stripper
pure
pole.
iron. So it's a
an
stripper
al-
pole from
it's an
Indian
alien.
giants back in the
It's
time.
an alien stripping pole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
nice.
All right.
So this
I've
is-
hit my mark. I'm out. I got to go find some food.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. That was fun.
I'll come again another week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds
well,
good.
you probably need to bring your husband another beer and
Yeah, since you drank
Yeah.
everything he has right now,
It's almost time for break.
you can you make it? Can you make it till break?
I can. Maybe I'll pour me a little bit more.
you've got
More
35
bourbon.
minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
I'll
why
get
he's
another
going to
beer.
go pour some more bourbon.
I'll get a.
Nice.
I'll get a. Maybe not that one. Maybe I'll go get a little less
Potent one.
stout.
We'll see
All right,
you
well,
later.
no, I'm good. We're all good.
Is this your late night TV watching the mysteries, alien conspiracies?
Well, there's nothing
where-
alien.
Ancient history.
There's
where,
nothing.
where do you
There's
get
nothing
this?
alien about that hammer. It's real.
Where do you get
It
this stuff?
exists, and there's nothing alien about that. The pole in India.
I
or,
get it, but where do you get this stuff? You watch Discovery
Well, he
Channel?
gets it- he watches
1
that shit.
1 a.m.
He watches that shit. I watch stuff about meat, and you watch stuff about TDI diesels.
Yeah.
No, I really don't.
Like I enjoy watching some YouTube channels. Austin, Mr. Producer, can you pull up YouTube and type in Proveen, Proveen, and
It's so interesting. Our TV watching habits are so, or I guess our content watching habits are so different. I watch Amazon and I watch Netflix, and I hardly ever watch regular TV, live TV. No, major networks. No,
Right.
any of these.
Well, live networks have a bunch of
I don't-
crap on them these days.
Well, and I don't watch YouTube shows. I don't watch any of that stuff.
I watch.
the ancient technology one. Go down right there. Just click it. I want you to hear this guy's voice. I listen to him all the time. He is fantastic.
He's Indian.
Well, yeah, he's
Dot or feather.
We're going to look at an ancient Hindu
Why does he sound like
architect
that?
called
That's his voice.
Vishwakarman,
I think he
and
takes
how
helium.
Everything we know about him is wrong. This
Okay, that is the
900-year-old
oddest voice I've ever
carving
heard.
But
shows
just
Vishwakarman
they're
with
showing
multiple
statues with
heads
3 heads
and
and
holding various weapons.
No, that's a
This is
camera
the
he's holding.
standard explanation we get, but that's pure nonsense. if he has multiple heads, then how come the center head looks older while
All
the
right. So,
other
anyways,
two heads show
it's
younger
very
faces?
interesting. I don't want to be
And look at
soaked
the
into this,
weapon
but
on the
this
left. It's not a weapon
this
at
is
all.
the type of
This
stuff
head is
I
actually
love.
looking
I really
into
enjoy
this
watching this
device.
stuff.
Now, who is this Vishwakarman?
So how does he get his information? Does he just make this up?
He's just
Well,
really
he's been
smart.
studying it for. I mean, he's probably 60, 50 years old. There, he's an older guy, and he lives by himself. He's
looks
he's kind
20.
of a monk, and he's
He's standing in front of a blackboard.
well, for this one, he's also a professor, and so he studies it. That's all he does. Is he travels all over. He's been on Ancient Aliens story when they talk about the history of Indian culture and Cambodian culture, and because he's a master at it. He knows all about it, and he travels to all these
Right.
different temples. And
Yeah, I get
I find it fascinating. Even what's fascinating is the architecture that they had back there that they've abandoned. I mean, when I say they abandoned, it's there. It's covered with dirt, and people are just walking on it and destroying it. It's beautiful. I mean, the ornate carvings they put in there, it's so precise and perfect. It's incredible. You can't figure out how they don't even know how they did it.
Yeah, how they pulled it off. Yeah,
You know, and
the engineering shouldn't have been there at that. It's like Machu Picchu. You ever have you ever heard about Machu Picchu?
Exactly.
Where the stones are like perfectly cut.
Yes.
They weigh a freaking.
Well, it's just like the pyramids.
How the hell did they
pyramids are
get
the
them
same way.
up that mountain?
Well, one of the things that he shows is there's a temple of music, and I called it Temple of Music. It's not called that. It's called something else. But when
Rock
you go
and Roll
in there,
Hall of Fame.
they have these large columns, and all the columns are uniform in size and height, and they're large. And when you can bang on them, they each make a different tone, and they make it like E flat, F. I'm sorry, E sharp, F, and so forth. You knock on them, they make different noises. I mean, that's amazing. They have on the ceiling, they have a collection of 9 different shapes. So, do you know how you get like a bass subwoofer, and you were to put like a piece of white paper over it, and you sprinkle pepper on it,
Mm-hmm.
and you expose it to a frequency, and it makes a design?
Yes.
All right. That's a 2-dimensional design. All right. They have a way where they can actually do a 3D representation of that. Well, the 3D representation of like whatever, F or G, is what's on the ceiling in that temple. And you got to ask yourself, how in the hell do they know what a 3D representation of anything is from a resonating a piece of a water?
Well, I think what we forget sometimes is they were smart back then.
they were smart.
What makes us think that they didn't have the
I mean, the
technology?
Sumerians-
Obviously, they did.
Back in that time and even earlier, I don't even know what time we're talking about, but they were an astoundingly early times. They had a lunar calendar that was incredibly precise.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about
and-
that thing they found at the bottom of the ocean?
No, just in general, they had lunar calendars where they were mapping the stars and mapping all where the planets were and mapping where.
Right.
Oh no, not the planets, because they didn't see the planets until Galileo and shit like that. But the lunar calendar they had down to.
Yeah, but before that, I mean, that was
Amazing.
forgotten technology. Even with Galileo, they're kind of like, well, it's forgotten at that time, and then they relearned it. But back then,
Right.
I mean, because they have like,
Well, a lot of this knowledge came from the Arabs, the Muslims, way back in the day. They were the
Sumerians.
Well, yeah, that
Sumerians.
whole
Assyrians.
area.
Assyrians, Sumerians, they were Babylonians.
Yeah, that whole area right there
It was
is
the
where a
cradle
lot
of civilization.
Yeah, it's where a lot of that
they
was
look
formed.
through these large stones where they have a core drilled right through a stone. Where first of all, they don't even know how they did the core drill, through a stone, and it's designed. It's like you're in the middle of sort of like Stonehenge or something similar to that, where you got a bunch of stones around you that have core holes in all of them, and you stand there and you look at a specific time. I think it's what is it called when it's springtime? They call
Equinox.
Is it the equinox? Is that what it
Stuff
is?
like that, yeah.
Yeah, and so you look at a certain time, and there's a specific star in each one of those little holes,
Right.
and it's supposed to represent. All right, well, today's the day, where we do a celebration, I think it's amazing.
Sacrifice.
Well, who knows? It could have been.
Where they cut the head off of the person who drilled the holes.
Do you think in 10,000 years they'll look at New York City or downtown Dallas and go, how did they do this?
How'd they do that?
You
It's
know
made
what?
out of some crazy
You
material.
know what else is
Or they find
crazy?
a Behringer board?
Those
Yeah.
those columns I was referring to that make the sound when you pluck them. They make a certain frequency, and one of them had crumbled down, and the column clearly went into the floor and like through the ground because it was coming off the steps. So the column went into the earth a good distance, and there was an access or a tunnel that went down below the temple, but they won't let access down there. So
Maybe it's
kinda
dangerous.
yeah, but these guys are
Or
like
maybe there's aliens living down there.
whatever.
Maybe. The crystal
does-
skulls.
It's
Crystal
just
skulls. You know what? There was a movie about that.
there are things. So the mysteries are there.
You need to read those
And-
books I gave you.
Hold on, the mysteries are there, but it's just like it's like, all right, well, why don't you diffuse all this stuff by just letting us go down there and look? What is the deal? I mean, why can't we go down there and take a look? It's kind of like the pyramids, for example. They have there's somewhere in the King's Chamber down below. There's some sort of opening where there's a huge granite box, and there's supposed to be 2 nodes on there that are supposedly tied into electricity, where you're supposed to fill up. Something fills up with water, and atmospheric pressure does something to it. It bounces and it creates some. I mean,
Crazy.
why aren't you allowed to go down there and take a look? Why is it shut off to? Not necessarily the public. Nobody can go down there. It's like, why?
I don't know. Did you also see that on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I like.
So maybe YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to the droughts, right?
No,
So
I
the,
don't
the
know.
stuff that's
I mean,
being
when you have
discovered,
pictures of it,
being discovered on all the Lake Mead is worrisome because that feeds a lot of water to
Oh yeah.
to
by the way,
lots of
that
people.
was on YouTube too. By the way.
What?
The story.
Lake Mead?
Yeah, that's a hoax. Lake Mead is not
No,
really.
that's mainstream news too. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad.
yeah, it's real bad, and it's something. I've been to Hoover Dam. You've been
But
to
is that
Hoover?
climate change?
Have you been?
or is
no,
that
it's too
just
many
the-
people taking the water. They're building houses, and they're consuming that water. That Lake Mead feeds.
Well, I think it
Vegas.
also. Well, yes, but there's also a drought.
Well, there is a drought,
I mean,
and there's more
that's,
people. It's
that's-
compounding on itself.
That's probably well over 80% of the problem. It's the drought.
How'd you get that number?
81%, 81.7. I think is the last calculation.
I think the
did.
number of people
0.58.
in conjunction with the drought is what's doing it.
Yeah, for sure, sure.
Um,
Because right now Europe's having a major drought. Half of Europe is under a drought. Same type of thing. Periodically throughout history, when they create lakes, they create a dam and make a reservoir or a lake. They are flooding areas that are like habitable, like little towns, or
Right.
like in South America when they went through a drought, this cathedral suddenly appeared, right? And people were like, "What the hell?" Well, I mean, they knew it was something they flooded back in 1940 something. Right, it was an old town with an old cathedral. Well, the same type of things happening in Europe, where an Italian fort or a base or something, Roman
Right.
times. Roman times, it's starting to just boom. A whole little city appeared. Well, they knew they flooded that when they. It's not like it's you know what I'm saying? It's not like
Right.
it's a brand new discovery.
Well, that's what they do down here when they create these new reservoirs, right?
Yeah,
They just
they buy people out.
and whatever they do to create this.
Well, and anybody that
Reservoir,
resists,
the
They
6 foot
dam it
lake.
up, and the rivers fill it up.
Yeah.
and if someone doesn't want to sell their property, you just put them in a barrel and bury them along
And
with
say,
the rest
"Good
of the
luck."
stuff.
Rather than plastic.
There
Maybe
you go,
give 'em a little
Alpha. Here's
dinghy.
your new home.
Give them a little dinghy and let them.
Speaking of, did you see the footage of the father and son? Now, when I say father and son, the guy was in his 70s, his son was in his 40s or 50s. They were found out way out in Boston, out in the ocean. Their boat sank, and they were holding on to a cooler
Oh my God!
for hours. And
How lucky are they?
yeah, and they were out there, and there's footage of it. These guys were just like, I can barely hold on any longer. Thank God you showed up.
And
right?
somebody just stumbled on them.
Hanging on a
Do you know how
cooler.
hard it is to stumble on somebody?
Well, I think someone saw their boat going down, reported it.
Okay,
Then it took several hours for them to locate them.
that's what I'm saying. Even when they know they're in the general area, look how hard it is to find them.
The Boston. It's outside of Boston, and it was. I saw it today, and the boat just kind of backed up, and they slowly pulled them, and they were barely holding on. You know,
Unbelievable.
All right.
Yeah,
well, the producer has
those
pulled up
guys right
something.
there.
And they survived, huh?
yeah.
The Boston police rescue father and son. They're hanging out to a cooler after a boat sinks near Graves Light.
Holy shit! How long were they out there?
I don't know. I think they went down Wednesday evening. I don't know if they're found the next day.
A Marine radio call. Yep, reporting 2 men in a sinking boat near Graves Light. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they showed a picture of them. They were kind of outside. They could.
Look at
look-
that. I mean,
And
They're
they find them.
distraught.
They found them.
they're right there.
There they are. They're pulling up on them, and they found them. Oh my gosh! What a nightmare.
Yeah, and there's audio of them. Just you could hear the panic in their voice.
Is there any audio, producer?
Back it up, back it up. There we go. We're so weak. I can't even move. All right. Help him up, please. Help him up first. Help you guys that pocket because we got this. Let it go. Give me your other hand. Hold on. He's a big guy. Give him the other hand. Let your leg go. Let your leg go. On three. One.
Oh, they're emotional.
Yeah.
The younger guy is emotional. Funny, because they were facing death.
You got it. Yeah, boy. I'm 76 years old. All right, take your time.
76.
My man, hold on to that bottle. I got you. Okay. I gotta go up more. There you go. Crawl up. I got no spine. Come on, son.
Well, he has a life vest too. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Take your time. Take your time. Is it just you two?
Oh, and the other guy has a what do you call that? A
dinghy.
round raft thing that you throw out there.
What hurts? You all right? Any medical issues other than being cold?
No.
All right.
I don't know.
Grab a seat right there. I'm just going to help him. This your son? All right. You all right? All right. Good man.
I got you here.
Like, no, I'm not all right. I've been floating in the ocean for 3 days.
And the worst part about it is I lost my beer.
You're in.
All right, so they're pulling up the son now. He's an oversized individual.
He's like, I need my cooler.
Yeah, there's at least 3 beers in there.
I'd almost save it just because it saved my freaking life. I held on to it.
Absolutely. Well, he also had that ring thing.
But still, you're
How
out there.
traumatic, you know. But
That would suck.
Well, I know, and and it looks like they're out there,
And they could have been eaten by something for sure.
and there's been a lot of great whites
Well, yeah, it's
up there.
Yeah, they've been saying that along the whole East Coast, it's ruined people's summers
Yep,
because there's one shark sighting after another.
yep, yeah.
That's
There's a bunch of
crazy.
great whites up there right now.
They got lucky they didn't get eaten.
I don't
Wow.
think I don't think sharks like humans' food. I thought
I
they.
mean,
They could still like,
legs and arms dangling in the water,
yeah, they eat it and they go, yeah, I don't like that, but your legs are already gone.
and
Yeah.
it's bleeding, so they're like,
Yeah.
yummy.
Well, I think I'll try it. It's a little tastes like
I'm-
liver, but
Yeah,
Tastes like liver.
yeah. Like
I
we
don't-
taste awful to them.
Yeah, or you could be like that guy in Australia who was swimming out there, and he got bit in half
good
Ah.
lord.
because the guy came up from. He was swimming out there, and
They have that on video too.
Yeah,
don't
they have that on video as well. The guy and it came up and bit him in half.
Ugh,
Good lord.
that would suck.
Bit him in half, and he's just instantly dead.
I guess.
Well, but I think your brain lasts for a while. Like
I don't know.
it's like you ever wondered, like in the days when they had the guillotine,
Good lord.
And your head was just laying there.
your head would so your eyes are sitting there staring at like the side of a basket, right?
Or staring at your stump.
Because it takes. I mean, even when your blood stops going to your brain's still working. It's still working
for a couple seconds.
well, I don't know how long.
Let's ask him.
No, I don't
ask
think
him
so.
how long did your brain work before you stopped
I don't
sawing
think
this?
so. I think.
You think it's
I think
instantaneous?
it's lights out.
Instantaneous.
I
There's
think,
no way to prove that.
well,
is
here's
there?
here's my philosophy on that. Is that when
I've always wondered.
have
that.
you ever passed out? Have you ever seen the tunnel?
I have.
I
All
have.
right.
I have.
So when you see that tunnel, you're not in dreamland. You're out.
Well, yes, but like an instantaneous severing of your spinal cord.
Yeah, I think that the
You think it would shut
electrical
off the brain?
I think that the electrical system to make it function doesn't exist anymore.
But it's so morbid too, right? Because as soon as they chop the head off, they hold the head up, and the head's looking at the crowd.
Mouthing something.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't do that, does it?
Well, just like when you cut the head off a chicken, the chicken runs around.
Well, the chicken body does, but the chicken head doesn't do anything.
I don't know.
I will tell you. Well, he had his head though, so I mean, he had his body. I saw a guy die in front of me, but he wasn't decapitated. But after he did die, his mouth was opening up like a fish out of water. It was very creepy. But
yeah,
again,
because there's like an after. There, the body's things are still moving.
Yeah, but it requires your body. That's that muscle memory or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it was the body still trying to live. Maybe the brain was gone. Or maybe it was the other way around. The body was gone. The brain was like, I need breath.
I don't know. I don't even know why we're talking about
that.
I know.
Well, you brought up the guillotine.
Yeah, you in the guillotine.
Well, I was just curious if the eyes still see stuff.
Well, keep that shit on your own time.
I think that would be a very interesting topic that we should cover maybe in the second half is, or we could do it now, just different, over the years, the different ways of execution. Because whenever I watch these movies like Braveheart and the movies like that, I'm like, would it be better to be in a battle back then, dealing with that massacre, or today, where guns everywhere? I think
Are you talking about execution or just different ways that you die in battle?
This is like an episode on Faces of Death.
Well, it's just, I don't know. Whenever I watch it, I was like, God, that'd be terrible.
To have like your arm hacked off.
Yeah, I mean, you're running with a big old broadsword and you're just like hacking people apart.
You would not want to live back in that time because here's the thing. You don't have trauma units back then. Back then, when
you didn't have triage.
Yeah,
no,
you didn't have.
They also didn't have Netflix.
They did not.
Well, I mean, you get struck by a broadsword. Most of the guys that can wield those swords are strong.
Oh, I mean, big time. Those things are so heavy,
and it becomes an extension of their body. So I mean, it's just like once they're swinging and you get hit, well, your arm's gone. And if it's not, it's damn near lacerated, and you're probably going to bleed to death anyways.
Right.
It probably would go through your arm and halfway into the side of your rib cage.
I mean, it was interesting as medicine progressed. Battlefield triage became more sophisticated. Like Civil War, brutal. Like they were hacking off arms and legs because that was the only way to save somebody
out there.
Well, we saw Dances with Wolves, right?
Right, and then World War II, better.
World War I was brutal.
World War One, oh God.
Well, World War II, I mean, you hear that Saving Private Ryan was the most accurate, right? Those guys running up on that beach, arms flying this way, arms flying that way. It was happening at the same time, and they're just like, most of those guys probably died as well.
Right.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I don't. I want to watch that movie again, but I kind of don't.
I love that movie.
I just watched it.
It's not a matter of loving. It's
no, I love it because of what it symbolizes. Every single time I get passionate about the sacrifice that greatest generation made and those men.
I recommend you should watch it again. I watched it within the last year.
Incredible.
It was good.
I think, and we've talked about this before. I think that should be a mandatory, every Memorial Day thing.
I don't think that this generation can handle that.
No. Certain people can.
I fell apart. We talked about this.
I'm not talking about watching the movie. I'm talking about
living it,
being exposed to those elements.
There are exceptions, but I think in general, today's population, that includes my kids, could handle that.
Yeah.
Could or could not.
I don't think. Well, I never know with your kids, but
not necessarily our kids, but just as a whole, I would say the majority of the generation.
I think that's why so many people get offended because it's too easy right now.
Yeah. Well, but war is war, right? So, I mean, I could tell you that when my father-in-law went over to Vietnam and he turned 18 on the plane over there, he didn't know what the hell to expect, right? And then when survival kicks in, human instinct and survival kicks in, and you become somebody that it changes you forever.
Well, just like at Saving Private Ryan, he was a soccer coach.
That's
wasn't
right.
He?
That's right.
English teacher.
Yeah. So my point is, if our boys were put into that situation and their survival instincts kicked in, it's like you either die or it changes you, right? They'll get changed. or they'll die.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they would just adapt very quickly.
I think the way that the military is right now with the wokeness, the
Yeah,
pronouns, it's not the same
They're
as it
not
was back
training
then.
the way they
I
they
was gonna
should
say,
be training.
Anybody that goes into combat now is woefully unprepared mentally and emotionally
Correct.
because
I
of that
would-
bullshit.
Correct.
Yes,
I would
agree with that.
I would be up. I don't have any respect for the military right now.
Oh,
I
I
mean-
do.
Oh, I do.
I do.
Well, hold
No.
on.
I
Let
don't-
me rephrase that. I have tremendous respect for the military.
You mean for
But-
the woke leadership?
Yeah, this the woke shit that's going on right now. I'm ashamed of. You know, the fact that they're lowering the bar
The
so that
standards.
the women look. Army, and we've said this before on prior podcasts. Army should consist. Army is what it is.
It's made to
They're
win
hired
battles.
killers.
They're
This
made
is
to
war.
win war.
They're going over there to kill people.
That's right.
And
The
you want
military-
your best killers to go out there, and you want your strongest and best and most elite to go over there to kill them.
Well, the military's
Don't be
built
lowering the bar.
to kill and
Right.
break things. It's not to come over there and be
We're
nice.
not going to go massage them, you
Right.
know, and,
No, I
and,
get
and
it.
make this right. No, you need killers over there. You need people that are going to. They need to be able to. You look 1 week. Weak link in the team dies.
Right.
All
No,
right.
That's true.
Period.
See, and that's what I have an issue with. It's the woke leadership of the military, woke leadership of like the FBI, woke leadership of the CIA, Pentagon.
Right.
I mean, there are hardworking people that have spent their entire lives, you know, in their jobs to defend America, to defend, like policemen. They sign up because they truly want to live their lives to serve and protect. And there's tons of military people and FBI agents and CIA agents, and all those people I can't imagine how they feel right now when they look at the politicization of their leadership who have gone woke.
Right.
I mean, and here we are saying the FBI sucks. I can't trust the FBI.
Well, it's just like when
I'm saying the same thing, and I'm like, I got to temper that because there are thousands and thousands
well,
of agents.
it's just like the same argument where the liberals were saying the police needs to go. They need reform. Conservatives are kind of saying the same thing about the FBI.
They are,
right,
and the military.
and you got to be careful because you're arguing one side over here and you're
I agree.
spouting the same shit over here.
Yeah, I agree.
There's problems in all of it that need to be identified and fixed.
Right.
It's the wokeness and bullshit on the FBI, CIA, and all that shit. It's the rogue cops who screw things up for everyone else.
Yeah.
On the police side,
I know.
They just got to keep politics out of it.
They do.
they do.
That's really keep politics out of the military. Keep politics out of everything. It needs to be very binary. You know?
And I knew we had a major problem. I never could have imagined that an ex-general or an the ex guy of the CIA or the Pentagon suddenly becomes a pundit on CNN. I'm like, wait a second. And I'm talking about
This John Brennan or something like that.
yeah, like more than 10 years ago. Like, I mean, when they first started, like, I was like, wait a second, you're not supposed to have any political opinions. I mean, you are, but
Those
know,
are yours.
yeah, very private. I mean,
Right.
I didn't
I sent you the
understand that
footage
at all.
of Gates interviewing
I
the
saw,
Secretary of Defense. Did you watch that? It's about a minute,
Gates,
2
like
minutes.
Robert Gates, the former.
No, the congressman. out of
Congressman
Florida.
Gates, and
Oh.
he was beating up one of the generals.
Secretary of
and,
Defense, isn't he?
I think I forget
Something
it.
like that. He's high up. The black guy.
Yeah, but he's a partisan hack.
He is totally.
He's a politician.
And Gates
Totally.
was calling his ass out.
Oh, he
and
was talking about how the up in the my God, the academies where
West Point.
it's the
it's the West Point. It's what they're teaching. It's the keep the white people down thing. What is it? Critical race theory. Yeah, they're teaching that in their classes now, or their training camps.
Yeah,
it's like there's no room for that stuff.
in the military. I can't
I mean,
believe that.
look, you're training soldiers. You don't need to be. You don't have a color in the military.
Do you remember the graphic that the Marines they sent out on whatever Pride Day? It had the colored bullets, the bullets that were rainbow colored.
no.
And I'm
That's
like,
ridiculous.
are you
It's just
kidding
pandering.
me?
They're pandering.
I mean, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was like, it was just heartbreaking. Anyway, you know,
Segue.
going back to you talk about executions. There was an interesting story where a guy requested to be shot by firing squad.
Like recently?
Like recently, like in the last 2 weeks.
I think I'd prefer that over the electric chair.
And so they fought it and fought it and fought it, and finally they said, well, he's got the right to choose, and he will go ahead and honor that request.
So they're going to have like 6 guys up there.
I don't know.
And
One has a live
bullet.
bullet. They got to be sharpshooters.
Yeah.
Hit him in the head.
Just one has a live bullet?
Well, that's the way they do it,
that's the way it
because
is. That way
Why?
no
you
one-
don't want to be sacked with the one that I just killed a guy. There's always the out that my gun had the
Oh, so they
blank
have
in it.
6 guns, and nobody knows who's got the live
correct.
bullet.
Correct.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've read.
Yeah, but one bullet
Unless
doesn't
you-
necessarily kill them.
If it's
Well,
right
that's why
right
you're
in
supposed
their
to
head.
shoot him in the head.
Heart.
Is it
I thought
the
it was
heart?
I thought it was heart.
Well, regardless, you got to have someone who's going to be able to hit it.
Right.
All 6 of them.
So they stand about like a foot away.
Point blank.
It's like shooting apples in a barrel.
They zip tie him, put them in a barrel.
No. Is that real? I mean, the guy wanted an execution by...
Absolutely.
Did they do it?
Is it here in Texas?
I don't think it's happened yet.
Is it here in Texas?
I thought it was like Missouri. But
I-
I don't know. I don't know.
Be
The producer is
vaporized,
not
man.
really helping us out right now.
Like, just use a minigun.
All right, well,
a-
you know
a
what? That's
minigun?
the first half. It's Dudes Like Us. It's August 30th, and I want to do a special thanks to our producer. And it's Dudes Like Us. I'm Sean.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Jeff.
And our producer, Mr. Austin. And that's a wrap.